Hey everyone, it's Vlad. We're back for part two. I'm going to try and maybe speed it up a little bit because 90 minutes for the first 2 years of the game is a bit silly, but I think there was a lot of important stuff to talk about at the very start of the game and kind of how all those alliances formed. I think it is going to be quicker now. There's still lots and lots of interesting things that happen here. My game's just getting started here. Let's recap where we got to. So at the end of year two, or in spring of year two, I got to 2 dots. So I'm looking really pretty. I'm in a nice little alliance here called the Guinea Pigs. We have just gone +3. We're looking good. And press-wise, I feel like I'm kind of in charge. And this kind of happened organically. I didn't push for this. But really, me and Ben are kind of running the show a bit because the original 4 have voting rights over the other 3. We've kind of outnumbered them in that way. We trust them in that way. And Ben is very busy over here. Great Ardra is also very active and is very busy over in South America. So Ben's running things on the Western Death Star front, and I'm running things on the Africa front, and there hasn't been an awful lot to do yet, but Meme's not contesting too much. He has stated in the game that he wanted a lower profile. He didn't like being the leader of Lock and having to call all the shots. Agadez as well, doing a lot of press, doing a lot of very important press, but also doesn't want to be the leader. So we're looking quite good. I'll bring up the alliance map for a second as well for this stage of the game, and it's very different to the tiny little blob on the map that we saw in the first map here. So we have grown quite significantly here. We've gone +3. We've even got this little slice of land here over in South America. So it's looking quite nice here, and there's some unaligned people here. I think it's time to talk about these people here. So we got, people. Azande is dead. Gabriel is now occupying Azande. Gabriel Mandara Darfur Azande. And as you'll see, the last name for Gabriel keeps growing ever longer. But at the moment, Gabriel's chilling in Azande. And we're talking about coalitioning Pirate Parley. And the idea is that everyone wanted to keep Azande alive. There'd been agreements. Azande waived, so that means we're going to keep them alive. And maybe Azande will end up joining one of the other alliances. But Azande was looking at some time for joining PP, but ended up not joining anyone because people started discussing dot splits. And we should discuss the early dot split here. And this was a proposal by Tim that then was all agreed to, that all 4 of the alliances taking part, Guinea Pigs, the Congo Line, Evergreen, and United Nations of India, who have made land in Madagascar, have control in the Indian Ocean, and some units around here, I think. There's some stuff going on. Cochin was our main contact from Uni about all this stuff. Cochin and Maldives were the 2 talking with us the most. I think Réunion had joined Uni by this stage. Possibly. Or, no, Fort Dauphin, I think, was the one that joined Uni. Anyway, the idea was that there needed to be a minimum of 2 dots for all of these alliances coalitioning PP. And this was quite nice. We were looking at it and we were saying, okay, so for us, this probably means we're getting dot swaps, that we're going to help TCL move east. And in return, we're going to get Azande and we're going to get Banda. So we'll move Gabriel that way. Gabriel's going to be supported into Banyoro. Banda's going to move this way. And once TCL start taking some dots here, they're going to start... we're going to get some dots over here. And e.g., we're going to move down here. Wasangali was a PP member, but Wasangali was also working closely with Mekele in the oceans over here. So EG didn't really want to kill Wasangali, and there was kind of an unspoken, or it was spoken a little bit, the idea that EG were just going to absorb Wasangali into their alliance rather than kill Wasangali. We were fine with this, but we wanted it to be clear that that didn't mean they got an extra dot. It would be, if you keep Wasangali alive, that's one of your dots. And we tried to make the same point to TCL a bit later on, but we'll talk about that a tiny bit later. Important things to note here are Timbuktu's gotten to 2, has gotten the build at the end of year 2. So Tasnika's back down to 1, and we're all best friends again. Western Death Star, I think they'd renamed to Western Death Star at this point. They were Western Star originally, but Western Death Star was the thing. And we've made land in South America, and all of these people have a vested interest in remaining friends with us. That Bellum here, we're going to get them into Sao Sebastio. We're going to help out Arguin and Cormantin here. They're going to be friends with us. We're not... TCL just kind of got out of South Atlantic Ocean, but they still want to be friends with us here because we're helping in the coalition here. So the idea is these guys will move back into the ocean. Congo's probably going to sit around. Mbanza renamed to Congo here. Yes, importantly, I renamed to Nigeria here because map of modern-day Nigeria. Benin, contrary to what you might think, is not in the modern-day country of Benin. Benin is is an empire that's in the bottom left corner, the southwest corner of modern-day Nigeria. And the area of modern-day Nigeria is about this, with a little bit of Mandara, but really I control the 2 dots on the map that are in modern-day Nigeria. So I was able to reform. I'm no longer Benin. I had been going by the nickname Vladimir Benin at the time, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, I renamed to Nigeria, so I went back to just being Vlad. And I liked the fact that I was able to do a formable. Mbanza renamed to Congo. I've known them as Congo for the rest of the game, so I will be referring to them as Congo from now. But when I talk about Congo, I'm talking Mbanza. So that was really nice. I was able to make a formable. Meme formed technically Bornu, just not Kanem Bornu anymore, but now Bornu. So as important as that is, it doesn't really matter. So we're discussing this dot swap, and this is the crux of my negotiations here is dealing with all these people over here, because Makuria over here is worried that we're going to invade EG straight away. I've been trying to get Hawara to go up towards Cairo and maybe do something with Tim. We'd also been thinking maybe Tim might move to Zagawa, might attack Hawara, because Meme has a really good attack on Hawara if he wants it. So there's thoughts about what we're going to do. I think at this early stage we're thinking, well, we'll move east, we'll help people attack PP, and maybe we're just going to attack EG ourselves. We don't know how much this pact is actually going to change things, but it might. Yeah, so that's after builds. So let's go to spring moves. And here is the first... Actually, yeah, I have misordered here. So before deadline, Fernando Po and I agreed that we would bounce in Mandara to protect it, because Banda could be doing anything. And we were going to move Ixis along towards Azande so that when we move Gabriel forwards... We can protect Gabriel here. And of course I'm thinking, well, in the way of PP from us is Azande. So Gabriel's the unaligned player. Of course GP is going to kill Azande, is what I'm thinking. So it's really nice that Ixis goes here, but it's annoying for us, and it's completely my fault that Fernando Po ends up in Mandara here. And this is an issue, because if we look at the clean map after this, we've got Congo and Sanga here, which was not sanctioned. This was a rogue move we didn't explicitly not ask for it, but we did say, why the hell did you do that? That was really weird. So TCL have 2 on Mandara here, so there could be an issue here. Someone could maybe do something. So Po and I are no longer able to bounce over Mandara or do something about this. So there's some issues here where TCL could potentially do something. But yeah, I misordered here, and Po ends up in Mandara, and it's not a Po stab. No one thinks it's a Po stab. I say immediately impressed. No, this was my fault. Let's look at the rest of the moves for us. So really, really good for us here is that Timbuktu moved into Ualata. This is fantastic for us because this is happening here, and there is an arrangement. This is Marrakech's army here, and the idea is that we're going to work together against Cairo. Tunis support holds it, and Tunis was not supposed to do so. And Tunis at this stage was in the Ligma Alliance, I think, which is this alliance up here, run by the Don in Sardinia, Aragon, who's here in Baleares, I believe was their home centre. The idea was that Tunis was going to help Tim in, but Tim had not gotten on well with Tunis before this, and didn't get on with Mamluks either. So Tunis support held Mamluks, and they claimed that they misinterpreted the direction, because the Don told Tunis, support Tim to Tripoli. And then after orders went through, Tunis was saying, what do you mean I did it wrong? You asked me to support Tripoli, right? Oh, you meant support into Tripoli. Yeah, like piss off. Tunis supported Mamluks here, despite Mamluks NMR'd, I think. Mamluks NMR'd. If you know, you know. So Tim doesn't get into Tripoli here, but we've got some good working synergy here with Western Death Star. So important that Western Death Star is working with us in a lot of areas. And so Great Ardra trusts Bellum with going into Moritzstad, and the idea is that, we'll support you into South Sebastio, who holds and is going to die. And Bellum is working with Kalina here, I believe, at this stage, and the idea is still for Ardra to build an army in Moritzstad. So this is all stuff to get people out. We've got the Great Protectorate down here, and this is people like Minas Geras, Fireborn, and Salvador and Rio. So I think the idea is we're going to move people over this way. Fireborn's going to get into Nakugo, and that Emu's getting Salvador, importantly. And we're moving out of Guanabara Bay. We're not threatening these people, and we're moving down this way. But anyway, things look good for us over here. We're working with Western Death Star, and we're all friends. Meme moves into Dinka, because the idea is, we're going to be able to get someone into Oromo. We're really going to be able to threaten Banyoro. Things are going to look really good. This move here by Makuria is not a stab. I think I was the one who proposed this move set, but they were a fan of it as well. The idea is we wanted to get the army through Mekele down into Alsa, which can be supported in. We've just gotten Gabriel into Oromo here, which is really nice. We've got someone in Dinka here. And for me, I'm thinking this is perfect, because we can kill Gabriel really easily here. And we asked this in chat, and again, most of the land negotiations here, it was me and Tim both asking, and we both said, well, we want to get Ixis into Azande here. And the problem was that with the moves that were being proposed, it might threaten Debre Birhan's life, because Gabriel's sitting here in Oromo, and if suddenly everyone's going to kill him, he might work with Pirate Parley against EG. And so in press, we agreed not to kill Gabriel, and we didn't say anything about it because we didn't want to risk people being pissed off, because we had this situation to deal with in Mandara, which was totally my fault. And we wanted to be on good terms with TCL. We wanted to be on good terms with EG. So we agreed not to attack or kill Azande. So I'm not happy about this Congo move, but everything else is looking pretty good. St. Helena and Angola Basin are moving out. Cape Coe supports Ben into South Atlantic Ocean, so things look good for GP there. In the interests of keeping things sped up, I won't talk too much about everything else that's going on. We should talk about the Great Protectorate, though. There was some tensions between Western Death Star and the guinea pigs about this, because originally the name for this group, Great Ardra proposed the Great Protectorate, originally with the name the Guyana pigs, because we've got Guyana up here. And the idea of Guinea and Guyana being similar was a bit of a funny joke. And the acronym would be GP, and that was the big issue. And Cormantin took big issue with this, and both Tim and I were thinking, well, Western Death Star are going to be really pissed off with us here if we make this a guinea pigs thing. Like, we want support in South America, but we want support for Western Death Star, because otherwise, if we start making our colony, Western Death Star might attack us. And of course, it's not really Great Ardra that has to deal with this, because I'm defending Great Ardra. The whole idea of me having these armies here is that I'm the bulwark of the East. And a whole bunch of Magic the Gathering cards were made about people in this game, and my card was Vlad, Bulwark of the West, legendary creature, summons guinea pigs to his aid. So the whole idea was I'm defending Ardra here while Ardra goes to work down in South America. But we're very worried that Western Death Star are going to be pissed off that we're. I think the term Emu used was soft control, like basically kind of going, "Hey, it's GP that's down here. It's not Western Death Star. You don't have to worry." And so it wasn't the Guyana pigs, and it wasn't the Great Ardra Protectorate, as Great Ardra proposed. It was the Great Protectorate, which, as you'll know, still shortens to GP. So Great Ardra got his way, but people in South America are not happy with the idea of GP being a thing. And this is, I think it was probably this phase. This is spring of year 3. The player in control of, well, Guarani is what they reformed to, but Chiripa was what they were. Downpour subbed out of the game and was replaced by this guy, Joe Baden. And Joe Baden was someone that people got on well with and didn't really... the people in South America who wanted to kill Chiripa for doing the stab no longer really had that motivation to kill them. So people suddenly were more happy with this person here, and also Nokugo, who kind of was in favor of killing Downpour. Nokugo also subbed out of the game, and Nokugo was replaced by a sub who was staunchly anti-Great Protectorate, and was saying, South America, we need to rally together, we need to repel the foreign invaders. And we're thinking, fuck, if these people get to turn people against Africa, we're going to be in real trouble. And this is just a little thing to look at for later, is Wien Hayek moving into AAR. And Wien will be very glad that now they've got a proper mention in the videos. So, hi Wien. And there's a few different people who are pretty anti-GP, but mostly Nokugo is fighting very hard against GP. That's the main thing for now. Let's go to the clean map after retreats, and we'll look at what's going on. So, I'm thinking we should be attacking Azande. We've got to get Poe out of Mandara. So I'm supporting Poe back to Nri from Oyo, and Congo and Hausa states are going to bounce in Mandara to protect it. That's the bounce that was agreed. And I think the idea is Tim's meant to be getting into Tripoli. Tim is still adjacent to Timbuktu, so that stab is still on. I've still got 2 armies that could just move west, but with the amount of entanglement going on over here, we don't want to war Western Death Star, and I think we all know that. And so these 2 alliances are able to continue with a nice little chasm here. Busa and Aja have not been entered yet in this game. Loango has not been entered yet in this game. Lopez Bay has not been entered yet in this game. Things are looking really nice for us on all these fronts, that we can really focus on this area here. So, yeah, we're looking at continuing to move. I'm wondering what's going to happen. Is Meme going to try something on Huara? Meme could. Is Meme going to try something on Makuria? Meme always possibly could, but yeah. Things are looking good for our 4 moves. Oh no. So, this is the biggest move of the phase right here. Banda of the Congo line supported Congo into Mandara. And so the planned bounce did not work. Poe leaves Mandara, and suddenly Congo is in Mandara. So Banda did this not for personal gain, but for alliance gain. This is a huge worry. And Ixis was on 1 dot. And so I saw this and I thought, oh, fuck. Ixis, House of States, the light green player, House of States is Ixis. I'll be referring to them as Ixis. I thought, oh shit, Ixis just died. We've just lost a guinea pig. Nope. Look at this. The fucking legend, Captain Meme, was meant to be bouncing in Azande with Ixis and decided instead to double support Ixis into Azande, which keeps Ixis alive on 1 dot, because Ixis would have been killed by this fuck up, and I would have felt so fucking bad if Ixis had died to my mistake, because the only reason the bounce in Mandara between me and Congo was happening was because I fucked up and misordered with Poe. So Banda took the most of this opportunity. So Meme clearly looked at this all and thought, we'd agreed in press not to kill Gabriel because it would risk other people dying. So Meme just did it anyway without risking people's lives by saying it in press. And this, in my opinion, clearly the correct move to do. I think I wrote in my void before the moves that I wanted Meme to do this, and I wasn't going to say shit to Meme because people would get pissed off with me, but Meme did this. And it was obviously the correct move. But Gabriel doesn't die because Bunyoro was 50-50 guessing. Banda had stated publicly they were either going to support Pango into Mongo or move to Budu. And Bunyoro guessed that Banda was going to move to Budu. And died. Because Gabriel moved to Bunyoro, supposedly to put some pressure on the PP position, because Gabriel was working with us against PP, remember. And so Gabriel gets into Bunyoro, and Bunyoro dies. Bunyoro was one of the more important players in Pirate Parley here, and they died. Remember, this is a fall turn, so people die. I think at this stage, Mogadishu also had noped out of the game, and so moved out and let themselves get eaten by Baidoa. A similar thing happened up here with Axum before from EG. They decided to give their center to Makuria. There was no stab involved in that, and you can see Makuria not stabbing Michele here, being supported into Alsa, which they knew. We can also see this is Michele's fleet, I think, getting supported into Hobyo, but the support gets tapped by... No, it might be Sakalava who's dying. Yeah, Reunion's off in fuck knows where at this point. But yeah, so we're progressing pretty well against PP. And moves here are good because we've got multiple armies on Burundi now here. But obviously there's a big issue, which is that Banda just tried to declare war on GP. And Tim and I... Agadez and I went absolutely fucking ham in press after this move happened, where we were in press saying to TCL, like, you guys have broken the pact, you guys are going to have blood on your hands, and we were saying, Congo, we trust you, we know you didn't want to do this, please leave the dot, give it back to us, and we'll be okay. And Tim and I went so fucking ham. And I remember going to EG and to Makuria. EG had asked so desperately for there to be a three-way pact to stop us attacking them. And we said, hey, TCL just tried to attack us. If they follow through with it, will you war TCL with us? And EG came back and said, yes. So we've got that pressure. WDS, things are going well. No stabs here. This was all agreed. Ouagadougou still did not trust Tasnica. We've got this bounce here in Timbuktu, just for whatever's going on. Ijil World Tour starts here, and Ijil gets supported down into, convoyed into Islas Malvinas, who gets killed here. Or, no, has already died, I think, by this point. Islas was trying to spin. But yeah, they die. So things with WDS are going really well. Things are really great here. EU gets Salvador. We support Fibon lives. Nakugo lives here on a couple of dots here. Yeah, Great Ardra gets Bellum into South Sebastio. This is looking really good. But Kalina stabs Bellum. So Bellum lives here on just the one dot, but Bellum's going to be an ally of Ardra's for life now after this. But Ardra trusted Bellum to go into Moritstad and kill South Sebastio. Really good. So South Sebastio, who was not a fan of us, is dead here. This is really nice for us. Oh, by the way, Ezio died a while ago. I don't know everything about that. Ask someone who did. But yeah, we get an assurance from WDS that if TCL war us, they will side with us. And this is great because WDS still have major control of the oceans. Yes, there's Soyo, there's Congo, but there's more people. There's Ben, who's here, I think, in SAO2, who might even just be getting into... Yeah, Ben just gets into Wanbara Bay here. But there's still a huge amount of naval pressure from WDS. I'll zoom out a bit. I think I zoomed in on Meme for effect. But yeah, so we think that we've got a really good attack on TCL if we want, because Cape Co is moving away, moving towards Madagascar. Cape Co is doing all this shit. TCL gets into Moravi, Beira supports TCL into Comoros. Is that TCL? No, that might be Uni, actually, that fleet. But anyway, they're all moving this way. They're looking quite good. And so what TCL do is they end up deciding to give the dot back and not to war us, which is amazing. And I think there are reasons for it. And some people would say, why the hell didn't they just continue on? Like, they had such a good jump on us. Kanan Bornu is open right now. We've just done a thing. So people are going to be pissed off at Meme for killing Gabriel. TCL could try to take advantage of that. But TCL have lots of gains over here, so I think it was pretty smart for them to actually just continue along and negate the Banderstab. The Banderstab, I think Benguela has gone on record saying the Banderstabbed exactly 1 year too early, that they were looking at doing it, but that it was too early. So I think this is where the good relationship with Congo comes in. That Congo's been my bestie from the start, and Congo, after this, says to us, thank you, GP, for not immediately using this as an excuse to attack us. And I think Congo's just so worried that he's going to be on the front line. We're going to kill him, and he's going to lose all his stuff. He's going to lose St. Helena. And so Congo was the one who says, yes, I would like to move out. And we've got a couple of people in TCL who are very staunchly in favor of us. And if I remember it correctly, Banda was trying to whip TCL into a frenzy and say, we've got to go all in. And Pango gave her a message to say, like, if you can get other people on side, then yeah, I'll consider it. And I was like, hey, Pango, what the fuck? Like, you got to understand I'm going to be pissed. And Pango's trying to say, no, well, I don't want to war you guys, but if Banda gives me a good reason to, then I will. And I'm like, okay, like, you're just threatening everything. I think the three people who wanted Banda dead, and it was, the whole idea was Congo gets supported into Banda, and Banda is going to die. The people who want this are Mabanza, Soyo, and Cape Koei, I believe, is the third person who wants Banda dead. And GP is obviously hard pushing for Banda to die. We're saying, well, we'll go along with whatever TCL vote on, but we're never going to be able to trust you guys if she's anywhere near our border. So the idea is, well, at the very least, TCL are going to get Banda away from the border, and Congo is going to be supported into Banda from Mandara. We're going to be able to walk back into Mandara. Everything's going to look lovely, and we're all friends again. And a lot of people from outside Africa might look at TCL turning around here and say, what the fuck? But I think I've explained what the situation was and why it didn't happen. I think TCL have enough other things going on. They got two fleets here engaged in Western Drift. They're not actually getting anything in Western Drift, but yeah, they're friends with us. They're doing what they do well, and it's not a great time for them to stab. Or at least that's what we were trying to say in press to make sure we got Mandara back. So that's about everything from a GP perspective. Tim gets supported into Tripoli, which is amazing. Tunis supports Tim and we get another dot for Tim. So Tim gets to build, which is amazing. And the relationship that Tim has with Ligma at this stage is really nice. And the fact that Tunis has been held to account is really nice. Yeah, I think that's about everything from a GPS perspective. We can go to the clean map and have a look at kind of all the... Hang on, have I gone past builds? No, this is before builds. So this is after retreats. Burundi's going to fall pretty quickly. Banyora is going to fall pretty quickly. Wasangali's fleet's often fucking musket. I think Wasangali might get a build here. But yeah, the positioning from EG on PP is pretty nice as well. So that war is looking good. We're going to get a build here, which is really nice. Let's go to builds. So Tim gets a build here. Emu gets a second fleet here, which, again, little threatening for Sao Tome because we did not get a fleet build here. But I think we have to trust Cormantin by this point. Congo goes army here, and the idea is, well, they'll support themselves into Banda if Banda tries to do anything. So we're not too worried about this army here. Yeah, and importantly, Kalina builds armies. But yeah, Great Ardra gets another build here, which is really nice. Ben's down here. Yeah, so things are looking good after builds for us. We can go to the clean map and discuss what the moves for this phase are going to be. Important thing happens. I believe this is the phase that it happens, but Tim, who was playing Agadez, got subbed out of the game. They got force subbed out of the game for issues with arguments they were having with different people. I think he argued a lot with the mods, and a lot of this stemmed from arguments that GP was having with Win Hayek down here. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but my view certainly at the time was that Win Hayek was trying to love bomb Great Ardra into kind of defecting from Africa and becoming a South American that she could control. And Win Hayek's way of doing this at the time was to have really good chats with Great Ardra and to insult Ben, to insult me, and to insult Tim. And the logic was that, well, Vlad and Tim, they're off in Africa. Why the fuck are they talking about South American stuff? That doesn't matter. And there's a little bit of logic there, but like at the time, I was the GP that was overlooking everything. That Tim was doing lots of the negotiations over here. He was doing the negotiations up with Europe. I was doing a lot over here as well, but I was also I had no idea about Europe, so I had my eyes on on South America as the third guinea pig down here, because we had Ben here who was involved in a lot of the naval stuff, and Ardra here who was involved with a lot of the South American nations here. So I liked being the third voice down here to maybe, look at Great Ardra talking about wanting to work with Win Hayek here and work with the Hive. So Hive is a proper entity again by this point. I believe Garani flipped and decided to join the Hive, or they might have been called B-Sticks or B-Shido or whatever the fuck they were at this point. Let's get the alliance map. Let's see what they are by this point. Where are we up to? So there's the bio liberals and everything. So there's some shit going on here. But I think Garani came back and joined up again with Win Hayek, and the idea is that Win Hayek wanted to control GP. They didn't want Western Drift to keep attacking South America, and there were a lot of talks here. I think it was around this year that this was the case, that Western Drift were discussing, do we attack Hive or do we attack the pirates? And I very strongly wanted to attack Hive because I was getting very pissed off with the way that Win was behaving in press. And Great Ardra was the opposite end of this and desperately wanted to attack the pirates. And basically, he got his way because a lot of Western Drift wanted to attack the Hive. I think in particular Theo really wanted to attack the Hive. But both, it should be said, it wasn't just Great Ardra, it was also Cormantin. They didn't want to attack the Hive. And I think, again, they were both just worried, well, I'm going to fucking die if that happens. So they wanted people to pivot up against the Pirates of the Caribbean up here, which, it just didn't look like a good idea for me. But I was also happy to kind of, if Western Death Star were going somewhere, sure, because they weren't really growing at all. Like, a couple of them were getting dots down in South America, but otherwise, they're not making any ground. And GP, we just got Azande. We're gonna get Mandara back if everything goes according to plan. Things are looking good for us in Africa, so I was happy for Western Death Star to do whatever. So as soon as they decided pirates might be a good target, I thought, sure. Cormantin had a very interesting proposal at this time. And it was exactly this phase because I remember, because Congo was in Mandara. And Cormantin was saying, well, there's a third target that we could go for, and as in Western Drift, and that third target was the Line. And the Line were doing quite well at this stage, so Emu proposing going against the Line has a bit of merit, and they can flex, they can build fleets, and they can go down, and they can do lots of fun stuff. But Emu was talking to me about this, and I was like, the Line are in Mandara. If we attack them right now, we need to take back the centers that they're in press saying they're willingly going to give back to us. So I was saying, no, the Line are our best friends, and my focus was on getting our dots back and getting Banda in the dot trade, because we've got Arizande, but we want to get Mandara, we want to get Banda for free, and then see where to go from there. But also I thought, if Western Death Star start the attack, we could join them. So the language I used in talking to Emu, I did kind of clamp down and say, no. But what I said was, GP will not attack the Line. which could be taken as us saying we're never going to do that war. But I was trying to imply, like, I didn't say don't attack the line, Western Death Star. I said GP will not attack them. So, yeah, I'm trying to say, like, maybe if you guys go on it first, we'll join in. Because by that stage, theoretically, we'll be back in Mandara, and we can maybe push on Banda. And I think at this stage, the reason the TCL line looked decent was that Banda was trying to do anything to survive. And Banda and I had good chats in the past, and I thought that there was a real chance that if we suddenly attacked TCL, because TCL had voted to kill Banda, that if we attack TCL, Banda will help us. So there were worlds where that line could work. And Western Death Star decided to attack the pirates, and Theo decided this, I think, like half an hour before order time. And this was with the help of HSE. And this is where we definitely need the alliance, Matt, because you will not know who these people are. This is after spring. HSE, or they're the North Sea Empire, NSE at this point. They were the Hanseatic League or something at some point. But yeah, NSE decided they were going to help people against the pirates. So I think it's a good time to go to moves. And yep, we see people moving. And Leeward Sea is gotten into. We get support from the North Atlantic Ocean here into Leeward Sea. The attack is on pirates. And yeah, Ardra's doing some maneuvering. The idea is we want to maybe move and get Bellum back into Bellum, all this kind of stuff. But people flex, and we're like, oh no, we're going to be all good. And we support Rio de Janeiro into Nakugo, and a lot of dot shufflings happening around here. We should look at Africa. So, Congo does, in fact, move into Banda, with the support of Ixis in Azante. And I support Po into Mandara, and this is fucking brilliant. Burundi has not gotten into yet, but there's a few moves going on here. Debre Biham gets into Sidamo. Makuri is moving south again. It's looking good. And so we get a new player in as Agadez, and I write them a big old summary. Red Oak, lovely guy, and comes in as Agadez and decides, yep, I'm going to join GP. It's going to be all fine and dandy, and we're going to get on. And all's looking good here. Ligma doesn't do anything, and Tripoli remains theirs. And the reason it was annoying to us was we kind of wanted to get an army up into Hoggar to support Tripoli. But with a new player in, and particularly with Congo in Mandara, we decided we need to bounce in Kanemborn. So, and again, here's where, unfortunately, I have to point out so many of these like geographical issues that meant we couldn't move where we wanted to at this stage were due to my misorder letting Congo into Mandara. So again, all Vlad's fault. But things look not bad for us. We get the bouncing Kanemborn that we want. We get into Banda, which is huge. And Banda does not get into Sanga, so Congo really nicely bounces Banda out. So Banda at the moment, not looking good for her. She's looking like she might die. So I think at this point, Gabriel had joined Pirate Parley and had become the Admiral, because who else was he going to work with? So Gabriel supports Burundi down here. Uni's moving in. Fort Dauphin has conquered Madagascar, so looking very good for Fort Dauphin. I think Fort Dauphin renamed to that at some point as well. And Cape Coe's moving back. Lots of lovely things going on here. Cairo moves back up, but Cairo also moves away. So we're not too worried about Cairo doing something here. Things look good. The bounce in Timbuktu happens for about the fifth phase in a row, and Cormantin importantly moves to Mandan, which is lovely because it is away from us. Sao Tome is still pretty vulnerable here on the 1 dot, so a bit worried. But yes, in the spring, Congo moves back into Manda, so that's fantastic for us. That's the big thing here, and we're looking at, maybe we get Banda down the line, but it'll take a bit for that to happen. This was spring, so let's go on. And we got to talk about these retreats here. Banda's retreat matters a lot here, and in terms of where she wants to look to try and survive the best. And I think that's the only retreat that matters. Yeah, so let's go to the resolution of that retreat. And Banda retreats to Mongo, which we love because it's not next to Azande, it's not next to Mandara, it's not next to Darfur. It's the best possible one for us. And I think she's thinking, like, God, maybe I can do something with Gabriel here, who's in PP. Maybe I can help PP against this. So we'll go to the clean board and discuss what the moves are going to be. So Poe's gotten into Mandara, looking good. And there were some ideas here about moving troops forwards, and I think we had Meme decide to double bounce over Azande to stop like either Gabriel doing something, because we wanted people to attack Gabriel. And what TCL ended up deciding was if Banda tries and does stuff with Gabriel, it's going to slow everyone down. So TCL quite smartly decided, well, actually, let's keep Banda alive for now and support her into Banyoro. And Banda took this immediately because Banda wanted to survive, and this was a way to survive. So the idea was that Gabriel would go to Baidoa, Banda would go to Banyoro, and people would move over, and everyone would be happy because people are less worried about their home dots. This is clean map before moves, and I was going to be holding the fort. I was going to be, doing some kind. I was going to be doing a bounce with Meme in Kanambonu here, this phase. With House of States here. So there was a bounce going on in Azande, while Ixis moved, I think was the idea. And I was very content to, I'll sit here in Kanambonu, and I'm always happy to lurk here in Oyo because still these armies could do anything. And also, if things go well for Ardra down here, Ardra has said all along that they're happy for me to take the Great Ardra dot. So I'm happy sitting here in Oyo. So that's the idea of the plan moves here. Let's go to moves. Sorry, I need to talk 30 minutes before the deadline. I log on. It's still early morning deadlines, and I wake up at like 5, and I see messages overnight. And Red Oak had been talking in press and talking about what he thought he needed to do in this game. And he was like, well, we're friends with a lot of these people around here, so I think the best way for us to go is to attack Ligma. Ligma's right there. Tripoli's undefended. They're going to kill you. And Aragon came out and said, hey, I'm really not happy with this going on. And I'd been, Tim had been subbed out. Tim was our Europe contact, but I'd been doing my research and talking to people and introducing myself and saying, hi, I'm Vlad. Our Europe guy got force subbed, but I'm here to be your friend. What's the deal? What are the deals and everything? And Aragon's saying, hey, what the fuck is this? This guy, we're going to take your dot. And we can't stop Ligma taking Tripoli. And so Great Ardra comes in overnight. I'm reading this, and Great Ardra says, we're really sorry, Don. This guy, he's a new guy. He doesn't know the lay of the land. We will cop this whack on the knee. You guys will take Tripoli, and then maybe we'll earn it back with trust in the future. This is what Sardini is saying is, we're going to take it for now, and if you show that we can trust you again in the future, we'll give you guys the dot back. Red Oak doubled down and decided, no, fuck these guys. I'm really annoyed with the way they're playing. So it's worth mentioning the Don here in Sardinia was doing like a Godfather kind of cosplay as the Don of Ligma. And they were carrying out a whack job here to punish someone who messed with them. And so he was doing a lot of role-playing in chat, and Red Oak didn't like this and thought this guy's arrogant. And so he decided, well, I'm going to attack Cairo, and I'm going to attack Ligma, and I'm going to get Hawara to help me. And Hawara agreed. I had been trying for like 3 years before this to suggest to Hawara, you should go and attack Cairo. And Hawara wasn't doing it, and suddenly Red Oak comes in and says, hey, I'm about to lose a dot to these guys. You and I, we're going to go north, and we're going to attack them. And I saw this overnight, and both Great Ardra and I had said to Red Oak before deadline, we don't want to attack Ligma. Because Cairo had joined Ligma by this stage, it's worth saying. Cairo, who just had a dot taken off them with the help of Ligma, joined Ligma, which very interesting. I didn't have the best relationship with Cairo at this time, but I did know that they would be a real threat if they went to war with us. So I didn't want us to war Ligma. We were engaged in enough down here. We were engaged in enough over here. But also, I looked at this and I thought, what if I just killed Agadez? And about 15 minutes before deadline, after I had said publicly in press, do not war Ligma, and Agadez kept in press saying, yep, okay, I'm going to attack Ligma, Hawara, let's go, let's do it. I put in the orders to kill Agadez. And the really weird thing is, and we'll go to the orders because I spoiled it before, but I walk into Agadez and I walk up into House of States. Agadez did not need to move to Hoggar because Agadez is losing a center for sure. So if they're wanting to attack Cairo, if they're wanting to move into Jallo, as the idea was, and survive with the Agadez dot, they could just be dislodged in Tripoli and sit still in Agadez. But I asked them that morning, like, oh, what's the army in Agadez doing? And he was like, oh, I'm going to move up to Hoggar. And I thought, okay, I'm going to walk into Agadez. And yeah, there were a lot of reasons I did this move. I think probably the number one move was I thought it was a way that I could justify getting another dot. And I mean, I think people knew this when they saw it, but also there were good reasons. Like, we don't want to war Ligma here. If I do this, it will win favor with Ligma with us, and Ligma could be a real existential threat if they start convoying armies over into Northern Africa. So I thought, if I do this, the Don will respect the fuck out of it, because this guy, they were doing the whole Mafia cosplay, remember? And the idea was, we're going to punish anyone who betrays us. So I thought, if I take out Agadez here, if I do a kill, it's going to be clean, because Agadez is on 2 dots and goes to 0. It's fucking brutal. But losing Tripoli, losing Agadez in the same turn, and I just immediately said to Ligma, like, yeah, I did this for you guys. Of course I didn't. I did that to get a dot for me. I did it to stop our allies falling apart. I also probably did it because on land in Africa, I was enjoying having control. Tim had been subbed out. I didn't like that I was the only active presser, but I liked being able to call the shots and that people were listening to me. And Agadez disobeyed me, and so I killed him, I think is a really wild way of saying why I killed him. But I think there's a lot of reasons tied into one. But I did this, and it's important to note that break day followed immediately after. We should look at any other interesting moves that happened here. Nothing really happens here. Meme orders to Gondar. And Meme claims that this is, oh, well, I'm only doing this in case, because we were worried about the Makuria double stab on EG. And this is how in press I backed Meme up after this. I said, yeah, I thought that Makuria was going to go Gojam to Debray, Alsa to Michele, and double. And so Meme ordered Dinka to Gondar. I think Meme missed an opportunity here. I think Meme should have moved to Hawara, because we knew that Hawara was going north to attack Cairo. And I think we could have claimed, just as I killed Agadez, if we killed Hawara, we could just say, EG, that wasn't an attack on you. Hawara was the guy that attacked you in year 1 after all. I think Meme could have taken Hawara and gotten away with it. So, missed opportunity, in my opinion. Important other things for us is that Banda gets into Burundi, and Ixis taps Banyora to help with this, which is nice. And yeah, Debray gets into Marig with the help of Cochin down here. I think that's Cochin anyway, the purple. And Makuria gets into Gala, so PP is fucked. They're absolutely fucked at this point. Yeah, there's some shit going on here with Wasangali and to Trebizond and everyone down here as well. Doesn't matter too much. Big things to talk about here. I've just done this big stab, and immediately after the map is posted, there's a break day. And that was a really, really rough time for a break day, because I think if there was no break day, I would have gotten away with this move more than I did. And not long after the break day happens, I log off because it's break day. I'm not going to be checking Discord. I've got stuff to do in real life. And I check into the public square, which was a channel where people could chat during break day, but they weren't allowed to press at all in the public square. And people were pressing. People were pressing a lot. And one of them, it was like kind of only arguably pressed, but Fernando Poe said, "Welp, GP is dead." And I was really, really worried about that, because as far as I was concerned, this was not a move that killed GP. Squid over here, who was really... I mean, Squid had real reason to dislike us because Western Drift were attacking Pirates of the Caribbean. Squid was over here somewhere. And so Squid posted, well, is it fair to say that that Africa's over? And I'm like, that's kind of press as well, isn't it? And the most egregious example was Wasangali, who took a screenshot of this move and said, well, I guess Western Death Star know where their armies are going now. And like, I'm not able to defend myself. Press is closed. Why the fuck are people allowed to say this? So I was molding. I was not happy about this, but I thought also, fuck, people are going to sit on this for 24 hours, and because of this press in public square, and also just people sitting there, people in my alliance are going to think that I just went evil mode. And so I had a pretty busy day that day, I remember, but I remember when I got home, I decided, well, I'm going to make a PowerPoint. And PowerPoints were quite an important part of World of Chaos. And a lot of people made PowerPoints to justify whatever move they did. So I decided I'm going to make a PowerPoint to explain what I did. And I'm going to show you guys the PowerPoint right now. And I decided I don't want to make it just me stating facts and saying, this is what happened. You've got to make it a bit jokey as well so that people like it. So I themed mine around the Peter Sellers movie, Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. So I've got Peter Sellers here as the main character, and why New Agadez had to die, or how Poe learnt to stop worrying and love the dot. A lab presentation. I outline quickly here who I am, what I've done. I'm all this green stuff. I've been in GP. We're besties with these people. We're doing Western Drift. We're coalitioning PP. And this is what I just did. And I explain quickly kind of the history here. This is what Tim did. Here is the three of them joining GP. Here is Tim developing a strong relationship with Ligma. And here's Tim getting Tripoli. Tim got subbed out of the game and was replaced by Red Oak, who joined, wrote them a huge summary. They decided to join, keep the status quo, but they posted here. And you can see here some of the press. After this, I think working with EG and or WDS to push north is basically in the cards. And here's Aragon saying, we never mentioned Tripoli. We weren't going to take it off you. And as soon as you said you were going to attack us, we decided to take it off you. So completely correct. Like, Ligma were not going to take... I mean, maybe they were going to take Tripoli, but they would have had a lot more anger against them. Whereas they took their opportunity to kill Deadbush here. I've shown here, like... Ligma trying to come to us, and I've shown the doubling down. We're moving up. Here I'm saying, look, I don't want to war Ligma. We aren't warring Ligma, just Mamluks. Mamluks is in Ligma. And I'm saying here, don't want to war Ligma. We're friends with them. It's going to cause shit to happen. You can pause the slides and read them if you want. And this is one of the big things here. When Red Oak joined, we were saying, hey, do we want to get Agadez in? And Great Ardra said, I don't know if I trust them to join because it's always been the players that we've liked, not the powers exactly. And we took them in because we were like, well, they seem nice and they seem like they're going to keep the status quo. So I was trying to use this to say, hey, well, I've killed him because he's not really one of us. Which I know it's really rough on Red Oak subbing into that position and then getting killed like that. I feel bad for him, but it was a move that I felt like I could make. And I'm pretty harsh on him. I'm like, in the 1 year in the game, they managed to lose a dot and attempt to start a war with one unit. Like, I'm being pretty rough here. So this is rough for Red Oak to have to read. And I'm saying it was entirely caused by Red Oak's actions, and I have nothing against them, but they've been a liability, actively harming the Alliance. I'm being really harsh here, but here's the important thing, and here's where I'm saying, hey, GP, I'm not attacking you. Like, if I was going evil mode, I would have moved to Great Ardra, and I would have doubled here, and I would have built a 4, and I'd be in a much better position. So I'm saying, yeah, I didn't do this. And this is the bit I don't know whether I had to do, but I think I did. The way Break Day was going, and with Poe saying, well, GP's dead in the public square, which you know my thoughts about, I thought, well, the precedent in Africa is that when Tasnica did a stab Tasnica gave up a dot. And so I said, I am willing to give up one of my dots. And I might have jumped the gun here. Maybe I needed to wait for press to open and see whether people requested this. And I possibly jumped the gun here, and I was really wanting this to be Ixis. I didn't want it to be Fernando Po, because Fernando Po was anti-me. I was saying, well, maybe we can get Ixis, who nearly died, another dot. And I say, well, maybe I'm going to waive my build and join the Waivers Alliance. I do the Tasnica emoji here from the I have waived my build Discord post. But yeah, I'm giving evidence to say, please don't fucking kill me, because I'm really worried that the whole alliance is going to turn against me. Yeah, and I talk about, so one of the important things from the board is that me and Meme were meant to be bouncing, and I cancelled it like 5 minutes before deadline. You can see here in 5:59, the deadline's 1 minute from now, and I say no bounce, please. And he does it. He cancels the bounce. And he said, I haven't examined the consequences of this, but I trust your judgment. So I'm trying to show people, like, hey, people got while I did this, and Sardinia's wanting to strengthen the partnership. I did this for Ligma, and I've got Theo here saying I get it. Like, I don't know if Theo was even talking about that. I think I pulled that post out of like fucking nowhere. This is me really trying to cover my ass, and I'm saying, yeah, look at all these people that are pressing. Here's Warsangali's post in the public square. Here's Squid's post, and I'm saying, yeah, these guys are trying to divide us because of their own gain. So I'm not trying to divide us, so don't kill me. Yeah, and I've got my Wasangali, you can't press in here. This is the public square, like, from the Doctor Strangelove movie. So that's my kind of weak tie-in to make this slightly jokey, is to put that in there, because I was pretty mad at Wasangali at this point, but I was keeping it lighthearted because everyone loves it that way. So I've said, yeah, it was a last-second decision. This was not me planning a big stab. I'm willing to give up another dot and wave. You can make up your own mind for yourself whether I jump the gun here, because I'm really worried, and I'm saying to Fernando Pro, no, don't kill me. That's the end of the slideshow. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, so I'm really worried here that all this shit's going to go down. I'm not sure too much is relevant here. Yeah, I have come out, and the agreement that happens is that, yes, I'm going to give up one of my dots, and it's going to be Benin. And the person that's going to get it is Fernando Po, the person who was most anti-me. And the idea is, well, they get a build here because they just got Mandara. They're going to build a fleet, and they're going to do something. They're going to take Benin. And we're going to get Ixis into Banda. And that's how Ixis is going to get 2 dots. Because Congo's agreed, yeah, I'm moving out of Banda when this happens. So I agree to give this up, and Agadez dies. So that was my big move so far in this game, killing Agadez. That's my big stab that I've done, and cancelling my bounce with Meme, I managed to keep him in Darfur, which I thought was quite nice. Because otherwise we're losing position on Meme if this happens. Maybe that's why Meme didn't walk into Hawara. Maybe I'm being a bit hard there. Maybe it's because it was such a last-minute decision to change the bounce that Meme decided, well, I'll just hold in Darfur to get the change through, because it was like a minute before deadline that the change happened. So yeah, that's probably it. Anyway, yeah, Ligma came back on, and they said they fucking loved me for doing this kill, which I thought was what was going to happen, because I did a whack. What I didn't expect was that Sayotome here, he was completely like, oh no, Vlad, you're full of shit. You did this to kill someone. You did this as C dot. You did it for power. You did it for everything. And I thought that Ben and I were really on the same page with a lot of this game. But this is, again, where I think the break day really fucked me over, is that Ben wrote a poem about me stabbing. And it's a beautiful poem. The idea was, oh, well, when you, Vlad, come sailing through the Gulf of Guinea, I hope you'll stop and say hello and everything. Yeah, because Ben's all the way down here. Ben's pretty vulnerable. Yeah, I think I got screwed by the break day, because I think if I'm able to explain immediately why I did what I did. So Great Ardra backed me to the hilt after my PowerPoint. Meme said, I think if Vlad gives up a dot, there's no reason he should have to die or whatever. So I think that Poe did this to gain a dot, which, yeah, fair enough. Like, it's good play. I thought that Ben would back me up, and I was counting on, well, Ben will support me, Meme will support me, and Ardra will support me, and I'm not going to have to give up a dot, because I'd been doing the bulk of the negotiations over here, and I thought, well, they'll think, yeah, Vlad's the guy who should be at 3. Of course not. I mean, people are going to want what they want, and Poe getting a 3rd dot, no one really was going to argue against it. Maybe I jumped the gun in the PowerPoint. Who knows? But anyway, that's the bulk of it for everything that year. Should we go to builds? Here's builds here. So as you can see, Poe builds a fleet. I do, in fact, wave. Yeah, this is the phase that this happens. And Cairo attempts to build in Cairo when they already have a unit in Cairo. They misordered. They were meant to build in Mecca, but they built it instead. Fleet from Tunis is lovely. It shows they're not going to try and take, punitive measures on us. They could have built an army in Tunis easily here, and that would have been really, really worrying. Because, yeah, Marrakech is here, but we don't really trust Marrakech. Like, we've got Marrakech and Timbuktu up here. Timbuktu's a long way from home. But, yeah, fleet there is really lovely for us. Fleet for Poe is really nice because we're a bit more defensible around here now. Yeah. That's about it for builds, I think, in terms of importance. Bellum gets another one down here, which is nice. I think by this stage we've cannibalized the Great Protectorate, because Firemorn's dead. And, yes, it was, because it was immediately after Agadez died that the guinea pigs officially got Bellem as a guinea pig. So we were back up to 7. And we replaced Agadez with Bellem, who was the active presser from the Great Protectorate and who was Ardra's good friend. So Bellem is now a guinea pig, and we've got quite a nice little clump of 4 here, and we're pretty sure Bellem's in it for us for good now, so we're looking really nice. Emu's here. Ben still isn't getting a dot down here. But yeah, we're looking good going into the next year, except that I'm going to have to give up a dot, supposedly. Let's go to spring moves. Or this is the map for spring moves. So yeah, my idea is I'm talking to the Don, and I'm saying, hey, Don, I'm your best friend, right? So you remember how you said that you might give Tripoli back to Red Oak if he earns your trust again? What if I earn your trust again? I literally killed a guy for you, so can I please get Tripoli back one day? And the Don says, I can't promise anything because a lot's going on. And I'm saying, yeah, I know that I have to earn the trust back, but I hope that you'd consider it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is looking like this might be my way back to 3, is because I've just done Ligma a big favor. I'm going to move up to Hogar. I'm going to chill in Hauser. We're going to be looking good. Western Death Star have been bouncing in Timbuktu for fucking ever, so they're never going to attack us. Ouagadougou's a good mate. All of this kind of stuff. There's a couple of stabs that people can be making, of course, at different stages. Like TCL, they're such a hodgepodge here. Like Pango's dots are spread out and units, and God, it's a bit of a mess. But yeah, we're due to be getting Banda as part of the dot share here, which is really nice. So I think that's this year that we're looking at getting Ixis into Banda. So yeah, let's go to moves. We'll keep this moving a bit more. Yeah, and this was what we weren't all that wrapped about, was that Poe decided to do moves like this. And his argument was, well, I want to deploy my fleet because we need more of a presence in the ocean. So I'm going to move into the Gulf of Guinea and out. And Mandara will move back because Congo's moving away. We don't need to cover Mandara. And yeah, it was technically true, but it was also pretty worrying because I know Ben in particular was really worried that Poe was just going to move straight into Sao Tome and that he might die. I move up to Hogar, which is nice. There's another bounce in Timbuktu again. I bounce with Banda in Wien Hayek, which I think is kind of funny at this point. I'm getting on better with Wien at this point. Yeah, we get Congo out into Budu, ready to go towards Banyoro. Yeah, people keep pushing Banda east because TCL are like, okay, well, we're going to take Burundi for ourselves now. So Mpemba finally gets up to 2 dots, which is nice. Uni start evacuating, which is really nice because they've taken Zanzibar for themselves, but Uni start going, well, we've got more important stuff to worry about. So They support EG into Hobyo, which is lovely because EG need to get some stuff, otherwise they're going to get restless. And Meme managed to get away with the move on Gondar. Hawara still leaves Hawara alone, and the idea is that I argued hard in chat because EG were just kind of letting Hawara do whatever the fuck. Hawara had been embarrassed by the whole Cairo thing with Red Oak, and Hawara, I'm arguing hard, well, hey, Makuri is going to get up to 3 doing this, so Hawara should be taking Axum this year. So that's why this move to Tigray happens, is because the agreement is that Hawara is going to take Axum and get to 2 and do this. And I'm kind of thinking, well, Meme's got so much opportunity here to just move into Hawara. Why would Meme not do this? But a couple of armies moved back here as safety because EG is already looking good here. They're in Marig. They're getting into Hobyo. They're in the Gulf here. Things look nice. So yeah, the coalition's looking all good. Big moves here keep happening against the pirates. Lots of I don't know how to decipher this all. I don't really fucking know exactly what's happening, but Ardra's finding himself able to work with Japura at this point, which is nice. There's some kind of dot trade going on here with Bellum and Ardra. I don't think Ardra's taking Moritstad, but I believe Ben gets into Rio here, which is nice because that's going to be Ben's second dot. That's going to be really lovely for us. Yeah, that's probably about it. The idea is that Poe's going to go here. I'm, of course, worried that Poe's going to stab, but if Poe stabs, it's not really going to be against me in particular, because if he takes a dot that he's not meant to, it's either going to be Great Ardra or Saotome. So it's not actually me that it's going to happen to. And that's how things look at that stage. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm going to get Tripoli back. But I am a little bit worried about a Fernando Poe stab, because Poe was very anti-me after my PowerPoint. So anything can happen. Poe might be disillusioned. Poe might whatever. Let's go to retreats quickly to look at what Banda did. Banda goes over to Kismara and again is trying to take refuge in Zanzibar. Just survival is the name of the game for her. She's doing a really fucking good job at surviving. There's no other important retreats here. Let's keep moving through. I promised I'd make this one quicker. No, we're looking all right for time. Yes, I am here. The idea, I've got my guy in Hoggar here. I'm going to be chilling out here. I was kind of vaguely looking at Timbuktu here, but what the big worry this term was, what the hell are Ligma going to do? And WDS and Ligma were both worried. Was it this phase? It was like Ligma wanted to force the Strait of Gibraltar and get out, and I know people were trying to kill Gibraltar. There was whole lots of stuff around that, but tensions were flaring between Ligma and WDS, and I was happy for those tensions to flare because I'd just made really nice new friends in Ligma who liked me, and I thought Ligma might be getting me into Tripoli. And I thought, well, if Ligma declare war on WDS, I can go and attack them as well. The issue always with attacking Western Death Star was that there was entanglement, that people were next to each other, but there was less than there was. There's still big control of the ocean, but also, I think 2 of these are still TCL, so it's not solely WDS that have control of the ocean. And also, if WDS do attack us in South America, I'm not losing shit. So I'm looking at this thinking, if my alliance can get away with this, we should be attacking WDS. So I'm quite happy for Ligma to stoke the flames here, and for there to be tension. Yeah, so our plan moves is to get the Ixis into Banda, and for Meme to do a self-bounce over Azande to stop anyone messing with Azande. Yeah, we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna move Congo into Bunyoro, all of this stuff. The coalition's going to continue is basically the name of the game. Marig can support Congo in. Burundi's been taken. It's all looking good for the coalition. Yeah, so Lupa's getting into Burundi. It's looking good. Let's go to the moves. And here we see Ligma attacking WDS. And this is a big move. Here's one of the points where public press matters. And I spotted about 10 minutes before the deadline a message from Aragon, which told Tunis to move to Tangier. Because Morocco was getting convoyed into Lisbon, which, I mean, okay. But Aragon, the consigliere for Ligma, gave the order for Tunis to take Tangier. And I saw this order, and I thought, I'm meant to be best friends with Western Death Star right now. I should be pinging them and saying, hey, I've just seen this order, because none of them were watching the European chats, and Ligma were big fans of Last Minute Press, and I was shocked that none of them saw this. But I thought, I kind of want these two to go to war, and if I start pinging this, then I'm going to lose all the goodwill with Ligma I ever had. This bounce was agreed. With Mali, this was not a stab. The idea was, well, Timbuktu is going to start moving there, so how about I bounce with you guys? Because I wasn't getting Tripoli that turn. Poe doesn't stab, which is really important. So Poe moves to Benin and to Gold Coast, which is lovely. And again, Mabanza moves to Sanga, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is the second time that you have done this move without agreement. So, yeah, Ixis does get into Banda. Azande is not messed with. Congo gets into Banyoro. Gabriel goes to Baidoa to survive, which is nice. With agreement from Baidoa. Baidoa supports Gabriel into Baidoa. Hawara gets into Axum. All looking good. But the big thing here is this attack by Ligma on WDS. And right after this, at this point, Tasnika's really back in the good books of WDS. Immediately starts calling on us, like, hey, you guys are our best friends, right? From Western Drift, guinea pigs. So you need to help us, right? And we came back, we spoke for a couple of minutes, and we were like, yep, we're going to defend WDS. And because I asked Ligma right before this, I said, hey, you guys just declared war on WDS. Why should we not defend them? And Ligma were trying to say, oh, well, you guys can get dots out of it. But I was like, so you said you'd give me Tripoli. And they didn't say they'd give me Tripoli. They said they'd consider it. But I said, hey, so we can help you do this, but when are you going to give me Tripoli? And he was like, I think with this war being declared, I'm not going to be able to give you Tripoli. So I'm thinking, okay, well, fuck you then. We're going to declare WDS. And partly what I'm thinking is my alliance is going to be required to say this, or else we're going to be moved on. So in my mind, we've got the two courses of action here, and one of them is to stay strong with WDS and for me to move up and to force Tripoli and get EG to join in because we're all best friends and everything. Or the other is convince WDS that we're their best friends, that we're never going to do anything because we're so entangled so we could never stab them, and convince them to leave Timbuktu open and for me to move, and to get my other guys to move as well. So there's a couple of things here, but I go so sycophantically best friend of WDS mode in press. And I'm like, no, WDS, we're the best friends ever. Africa's a hug box. No one ever stabs anyone. I think I mentioned PAL a bunch of times. You know, I'm just pulling out all the stops. I'm being aggressive in press to anyone who's anti-WDS. I'm really, really hamming it up to try and show how much I support them, which is good for me, because if we do stick with them, then I'm showing my colours. But if we don't stick with them, they're believing the wrong colours. So I think this was the right play to make. It was to do this, because no matter what world we got into, things would look good. And Tasnica and I we were getting on quite well at this point. We were doing a lot of negotiation about the North and with Ligma and how to deal with everything. Tasnica had been, I think Tim was his closest contact in guinea pigs, but after Tim got subbed out, Tasnica and I started talking the most about all this northern stuff. Which was lovely. So I'm going to start focusing less on South America now, because it was not my area as much. So I'm going to try and leave it alone. But there will be points where South America is relevant. But mostly I'm going to try and talk about Africa here on out. So we side hard with WDS and press. And we're like, no, we're friends with TCL. No, we're friends with EG. No, we're friends with WDS. And everyone in Africa is just all about killing PP. And PP don't have many dots left, so there's a little bit of a worry about what's going to happen afterwards. There's Baidoa and there's Mogadishu. They're the last two dots. And the minimum 2 comes into play here. But remember the minimum 2 for GP, for EG, for TCL, and for Uni. And so far, out of all this, TCL had done quite well. They got Moravi. Bayra wasn't technically in PP. They were part of Ravenala, so they managed to get Bayra as another dot and just say, well, no, that's just another dot we got. I was trying to have Bayra count as a dot, but then TCL were trying to say that Tim getting triple should count as a dot, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's all the way up here. But they were like, yeah, and Bayra doesn't count too. So, yeah, it was tricky. All of these chats about the dot swaps and everything were mostly taking place between me, Benguela, and Debre Birhan. And we were the ones talking about all the plans for the coalition. Cochin was in some of them as well, but we were keeping Uni at arm's length. And the real reason for us keeping Uni at arm's length was that as soon as the minimum 2 had been reached and Uni said, okay, so what dot do we get next? All 3 of us just agreed, no, you've got your 2. All the other dots are going to go to everyone else. So, and GP managed to get the agreement that we'd in fact be getting Banyoro now in the second dot swap, because Azande we just took by killing by force. But the idea was Banda we'd gotten in a dot swap, Mandar had been given back to us, and Banyoro now was going to be given to us. So we were doing really quite well out of a war that we didn't do much in. So we were happy. We said to EG, well, Warsangali counts as your 3rd dot. You've got these 2, count Warsangali, that's your 3rd. And yeah, things were looking quite good for TCL as well here, getting these dots. They were going to get, I think Zanzibar was the last one they were going to get. And so they were done with the war as well. So everyone was kind of wondering, what's everyone going to do after the war? But we cut Uni out and were worried that Uni were going to be a bit pissed. I mean, if we look over here at the scoreboard, we can see that the real force in Uni is this person here, Masuli Patnam. And they were not one of the people currently involved in Africa. So, yeah. This is the scoreboard, by the way. Here's where the current scores are. There's no one in Africa near the top at all, so nothing really matters. I mean, Cairo's up there, but Cairo's such an anomaly. I think Mabanza got there, and Benguela's up here at this point. Yeah, so there's a couple of people looking good from the line, but Cairo is one of these people that, again, I think just NMR'd or... No, they moved, okay. But they're part of Ligma, and we've just declared in press that we're going to attack Ligma. So I start trying really hard to convince EG to attack Cairo. Because I'm like, hey, Western Death Star's going up. GP's going up. We need EG to go up because Africa is going to be the joint force that it always was. And I was trying to follow the line of, well, if EG can bid against Ligma, then when we declare war on Western Death Star, EG's going to have started a war, and they won't be able to just immediately go and attack us if they want to keep Africa together. So I was keen for that, but also, like, if I'm Western Death Star's friend in press here, I need to convince EG to attack Cairo as well. And in the worlds where we do all war Ligma, it's good for me for EG to attack Ligma anyway. So it all works out, regardless of which world we go into. And I put the pressure on them hard to do this. Let's go to builds. We'll see what happens. Yeah, there's a fleet from Ben is really nice for us. A couple more armies for us. Another army for Hawara. Another fleet for EG is nice because this means they can go to the Red Sea. An army from Mecca, so the Red Sea is really vulnerable if EG were to go up. Army from Tunis is the worry. Because we are now thinking, fuck, Ligma is going to start attacking Africa. And Tunis had the chance to build the army the previous turn, but didn't. So it's a fleet in Tangier now, not an army. I think Tunis would have been in better shape if they had an army in Tangier. But this army in Tunis is a worry. And this army in Naples is a worry because it can start coming over and people are going to start messing around. So, yeah, this is builds here. We'll go to the clean map for moves and I'll talk through what I'm thinking here. And this is one of the key phases of the game for me. And I looked at this and I had been buttering up WDS for ages, and I looked at this and I thought, if I go to Hoggar, if I go to Timbuktu and I go to Busa from House Estates in this spring, then I'm going to have a really nice line on these people here. And we can get Poe to dock Cormantin, or we can dock Cormantin in the fall if I don't communicate with them. So we've got lines here, and Poe can move on WDS. This is all looking really nice. So I really looked at the stab here because I was friends with Ligma. They'd just started the war, and yes, I was trashing them in press right now, but I'd done the kill for them, and I thought if I stab here and I move away from Tripoli, they're going to fucking love me. And I had no idea what EG was going to do. I didn't know if they were going to attack Cairo, but I was in press hard pushing for it. But I looked at this and I thought, God, I really think I can stab WDS here. And the reasons I'm not sure that I'm going to, number one is I don't know if it's going to fuck up everything over here. I'd been stopping looking at all this stuff because Tim was dead. Well, Tim was out of the game, and I needed to focus everything on Europe because everything was starting to happen in Europe and in Africa, and so I simply had to leave South America up to the others. And we had 3 people there now. We had Ben in Rio, we had Bellum, and we had Ardra. So I thought I'm going to leave it up to them. I simply don't know whether if I declare war on Western Death Star, if it will ruin everything. And I also, there was some chatter about, Tasnica was saying, well, maybe I'm going to move into Timbuktu this spring and then into Hogar in the fall so that when you move north, you can sit back here and everything. And I was like, no. If you move through Timbuktu, everything is ruined. I'm not going to be able to stab you. So I'm thinking, fuck, wait, no, I'm going to be really vulnerable here. In press, I was saying that I was going to move Hausa to Agadez and I was going to bounce them up there and that I was going to move both my armies up north of Agadez, which, I mean, it looks absolutely psychotic for me to do that. But that's what I was telling WDS I was going to do. I was like, I'm your best friends. I'm going to put both my armies up here and I'm going to force Tripoli. And Meme's going to move into Zagawa and we're going to attack Tripoli and we're going to attack Cairo and it's all going to work out well. And so when Tasnica said I might be moving through Timbuktu to Hogar, I said, I'm going to be so vulnerable if you do that. But he was like, yeah, but we need to be defensible too. I don't like the idea of you having 2 on Timbuktu. And yeah, he's got a point. And so Fernando Poe, God bless his soul, he says to Tasnica, oh, don't worry, if Vlad stabs you, we just kill him. I'm thinking, fuck, like, Jesus, like, I've been planning this stab on WDS for a couple of phases now, and it looks really good. And now Fernando Poe is saying he will stab me if I do it. And I'm thinking, no, Poe, you're the one who's meant to be going to Cormantin. You're the one who's meant to be moving into Adja with your army. Like, oh my God. And he comes out and he says, I'll just kill Vlad if he does this. And so as I look at it, I just think I can't do this. And without there being too many spoilers for what comes ahead, this is my biggest regret of the game, is that I didn't stab this phase in spring. Yeah, we may as well go to moves to talk about it. I don't know, what else do we need to talk about here? We're looking at getting Bunyoro for ourselves, and the coalition's continuing. I'm not sure too much more matters, but I'm meant to be moving north, and Ligma's doing all this stuff with armies. So let's look at moves. Poe moving to Oyo was planned, even though my idea was I wanted him to move to Adja. And so I said to him that he should move to Oyo and patrol. And that's obviously, like, for me, it's really risky having Poe next to House Estates. But Poe's already next to House Estates, so there's already a bit of risk there. But, things look good here. Poe moves into the South Atlantic Ocean, so further away from being able to stab people. Sao Tome moves to Gold Coast here. And just fucking look at this. Ouagadougou moves to Mandan. And Mali moves to Ualata. Can you imagine how good this stab would have been if I was in Timbuktu and Busa right now? Like, just look at the position. I have Mali guaranteed. And so what I was thinking at the time, when I looked back on how good this stab was that we could basically guarantee Ben Cormantin. Yes, Ouagadougou could bounce Ben out of Cormantin. But if I'm in Busa and I publicly state in press, I am moving to Ouagadougou because I'm already getting a dot and I will sacrifice what I'm doing for the good of the Alliance. I will move to Ouagadougou to guarantee that Ben gets into Cormantin or Wag dies. I don't see a world where Ouagadougou doesn't move to Ouagadougou there. He doesn't cover Cormantin. I think Ben gets into Cormantin in the fall. So this... I had no way of knowing that Ouagadougou was going to move to Mandan. I think if I did know, I would have just done this. I wasn't certain that everything was going to go well over here, but because, I mean, look, we got Ben getting supported into Sao Paulo by Cormantin, so things could get fucked up if we declare war on Western Death Star. I'm trying to justify my behavior so much in post, but I didn't stab Western Death Star here, and it would have been so good. It would have been so fucking good if I had stabbed Western Death Star right here. Like... oh my god, Mali moves up to Ualata. His idea is he's moving through up this way. Ouagadougou moves to Mandan. I'm in Timbuktu. I'm in Busa. I can support myself to Mali and guarantee getting up to 4. Like, I mean, assuming no one stabs me. But yeah. Instead, I spot Ligma's famous last-minute press. I decide to bounce Tunis in Chamba. I could have done something here to try and get into Tripoli, but I would just be knocked out afterwards anyway. E.g., move on Cairo is one of the other important things that happen in this phase. And they do this, they say, well, we would never do this. And if anyone in our alliance moves on Cairo, we're going to punish them the same way we did Sana'a. And at some point in the past, I'm sure you'll spot it in someone else's video, they didn't punish Sana'a after Sana'a did a stab. And so the coded message was that if anyone moves on Cairo, we're going to do fuck all. So all of them got the message and they all move up to Cairo. And the idea here, Debre's not stabbing, Debre's going to be convoyed somewhere by this fleet. And Wasangali is moving into Aden. Things look good here. And Cairo's going to get attacked. And the reason this moveset happened, because Cairo could have defended themselves if it was a triple support, but wait, no, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here. But yes, this moveset happens here and nothing gets countered by Cairo, which is really, really lovely. So yeah, Cairo moves into Tripoli, which is a really odd one. But that's how Ligma worked, I guess. They were convoying people different ways. Oh yeah, because Cairo was giving up Salonika and Tunis had stuff going on here. So I don't know exactly what all the deals were, but I bounced Tunis out here. I moved to Agadez. I'm preparing for this whole setup here. Really, why did I move to Agadez? It was just to convince WSDS that I was in fact going to move up to Hongar. Should I have stayed in House of States? Probably, because I could still move to Busa, but I was trying to convince people I was WDS's best friend. So this all happens. I don't know if there's any important retreats to talk about. We can skip past that. And we need to look at the board before this move. So this is before fall of year 6. And I'm here, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I've been told that I will be killed if I stab WDS. So I'm not going to. And I sit here, I'm pretty depressed about the position because I look at how good the stab would have been, and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I can still do it, but I don't know if I can trust everything over here to go well. Like, Ben could die if I try and signal to him to do a stab. I don't know if Ben wants to do something. He's moving another fleet out here. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll move my armies up and we'll start moving on Cairo. And EG's done this war here, so I'll back them up. And we'll go for the world where I don't stab WDS. And about 12 hours before deadline, before I went to bed, I get a message from Sayotome, and he says, hey, are you going to be on at deadline? And I'm like, oh, okay, what's all this? And I'm like, yeah, I've got to be online. I've got to spot those famous last-minute Ligma orders. And Ben's like, well, good, I'll see you online before orders. And I'm thinking, oh, he is going to try something. And of course, if I'm looking at what he needs me to be online to try something, is that he wants to move to Cormantin. And he wants to stab WDS. And so I start thinking, okay, if Ben wants me to stab WDS, I'm going to do it. And we get up the next morning and we look at everything. And about 5 minutes before deadline, Ben pings me and says, move to Timbuktu. And I say, yes, done. And I ping Po and I say, move to Adja. Move to Adja. And I'm hoping that Poe gets the message and moves to Adja. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, we've got a pretty good stab here. Like, if Poe gets into Adja, it can't be bounced. If Ben gets into Cormantin here, we're taking 2 dots off WDS, and we've got a really nice line at moving more. I'm in Timbuktu, Busa, we've got an army in Adja. We're going to move through their armies in no time. Tasmik is supposedly moving away with Ualata, so who knows exactly what's going to happen here. Maybe he's taking it, and there's just a dot trade going on here. But, yeah, I look at this and I think, okay, we've got the stab on. We're on. This is really good. And we're going to go to moves. Oh, fuck. So, important things to see here. First of all, my moves. I move to Timbuktu. I move to Busa. It doesn't get bounced. Tasmika takes Ualata. Wagadu moves back. Ben moves to Cormantin. So I was correct. He did want to stab WDS. And we coordinate this. And we move into WDS. Skipping over that big elephant in the room for the middle, we'll also look at Meme independently walking into Hawara and stabbing EG, which was not coordinated, and Meme once again was doing a stab in the complete dead of night without any press. And, yep, sure, good move. Fernando Poe moves Oyo to House Estates. Fernando Poe moves Mandara to Kanamborno. And Fernando Poe moves South Atlantic Ocean 3 to Moritstad. Fernando Poe has gone from 3 dots to 6 dots in the blink of an eye and has fully stabbed GP. It's not all doom and gloom because Ixis gets into Banyoro. Looks good for us. Mogadishu gets taken. Baido is still there, but Bandit survives somehow. But this is a really, really brutal stab and really, really pivotal moment of the game for me. Should I have seen this coming? Maybe. Poe was anti-me earlier. Poe I had already clocked as a bit of a restless player. And this is why I thought that if I announced a stab on WDS, Poe would do it. And I wonder if the single biggest mistake of my game was not priming Poe for the stab. Because I thought Poe's not as active as me, he's not as active as Ben, that Poe will do what he's told when he does it, and he'll be excited to do a stab. I needed to prime Poe more. I needed to be saying... I was almost going to ask him 12 hours before the move, are you going to be on a deadline? And, I mean, maybe Poe would have done this anyway and tried to use it as like I saw that they were going to stab you, so I decided to stab them. I don't know, but I think if I'd primed Poe for action, I think Poe did this stab because he saw the stabs, he got the devil in his eyes, and he was getting bored. I think if I say to him, like, yeah, move to Adja, move your fleet into, like, fucking Ceruleo Arise, we're going to be looking so good if we have Poe's fleet up here. There's no fleets here. They are so vulnerable from behind. And I just wonder if I'd pressed a bit more with Poe. I mean, maybe I'm just blaming myself, but this stab is really, really, really brutal. Yes, I only lose the one. In fact, I don't lose dots. I stay on 2. But I'm out of position like a motherfucker. Poe is in Kanambornu and House Estates, right next to Agadez. I'm in real trouble here. Cairo is in Hogar, and so the way I played this off was that as soon as I did the stab, I pinged Ligma, and I said I had to make them believe it. And I went, yep, I was faking it the whole time. I was always on your guys' side, and I've done this stab because I'm your guys' best friend, and you guys are going to love me for this. And they instantly were like, okay, fuck yeah, Vlad's the GOAT. But Cairo, quite funny here because Cairo would not have expected me to be moving out of Hogar at all, and moved to Hogar to try and tap me from doing something else, like a follow-through if I move to Jallo or something. Ends up moving out of Tripoli, which means that Cairo doesn't take Tripoli, which is kind of a bit of a funny side effect of all of this. But Cairo is suddenly in Hogar adjacent to Agadez. Poe has Kanambornu and House Estates. adjacent to Agadas. I'm in Timbuktu, and Tasnica, quite a dangerous player, is up to 2 dots as well for the first time in this game, and has huge reason to dislike me. And Wag moved back to Wagadugu, which is not great for Astav. I guess I don't know why. I think there was some idea of Wag being convoyed, and then it didn't happen, and Wag moved back, and it just really doesn't look good because Poe is up to 6. And before I talk about yeah, I'm gonna end the video here again because this is about the same length as the other one, and I'm getting a bit tired. So I think this is a good spot to leave off. Poe has just stabbed GP and has gone up to 6, and that's important enough a spot to stop at. We'll have a look at the map before retreats, and I love all these ones where it's like, hey, they can retreat to 100 places. But yeah, this is really brutal. Poe is suddenly absolutely fucking huge. And Great Ardra is going to be his because he's going to get 3 builds. He's going to build in Benin, Veneto, Poe, Mandara. It's going to be really big. Meme's kind of fucked. I'm fucked. Ben's fucked. GP as a whole are absolutely fucked. And yeah, okay, I'm going to leave it here. This has been part 2. We've got to the end of year 6. So first video, we got 2 years done. This one, we got 4 years done. So I expect the rest of the game will be in part 3. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see ya.